What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV, back with another live stream. Happy Thursday, people. Happy Thursday. And yeah, again, another weekend with no Arsenal to watch, but it is what it is. It's transfer season and lots to talk about today. Big up to everyone who tuned in for the stream with Kevin Campbell the other day. Very good stream, great numbers, so I appreciate everyone's support as usual, people. And obviously, starting today's show, I gotta say congratulations. I can't lie, I'm gonna say congratulations to West Ham United, the pride of East London, they call them. And listen, that was a fantastic game to watch and a great victory for them last night. Certain English clubs playing in finals, I don't want them to win. I'm not one of these, oh, it's an English club, so I'm supporting them. No, I'm not on that. But West Ham, you know what? They're a good club, massive fan base, and I was rooting for them to win yesterday. And I'm personally delighted that they won that game. Brilliant story for Jarrod Bowen. Jarrod Bowen, I didn't actually play against him, but we were in the same league at the same time. He was playing for Hereford. I was playing for a team called Alfreton Town at the time in Nottingham. And obviously didn't know who he was then. And he was rejected by 2 academies, didn't get in any academy setup, came through at Hereford and managed to make his way through the non-league route into the professional game. Was signed from Hereford to Hull City, then West Ham, you know, now scoring the winning goal in a European final. He's an England international. He's on like 90 grand a week. So it just shows for anyone out there, take some inspiration from that, you know, whether it's football or anything else. Everybody wants to go through the academy setup, which I get. It's the more glamorous way of doing it. Yeah, he made it the non-league way. So big. It could have been you, Curtis. I think I'm too much of a rebel. Looking back on my football career, I think I was too rebellious, to be honest. But yeah, big up to man like Jarrod Bowen and big up man like Broads. Broads has been singing for Jarrod Bowen to get a big move for a long time, and it was a great finish. What a ball by Paqueta as well, little through ball. So big up to West Ham. One thing I will say though, hey, South London's finest. I see you. I saw the song. Very good, very good. Jarrod Bowen had to move that fan out the way, right? But Declan Rice, we're going to talk about him in a lot more detail in terms of Arsenal. It looks as if we're making moves for him as early as today, people. As early as today. So we're going to talk about him. I don't like to individualize a game and use that as a benchmark for how good or bad a player is. So I'm not doing that. Trust me when I'm saying I'm not doing that. But I have to admit, I thought Declan Rice was meaty yesterday. I thought he was average at best. I got to be honest, if you're watching that game and I said to you, right, there's a midfielder on that pitch that clubs are looking to pay 80, 90, 100 million for, you would be saying it was Amrabat who was bossing the game in centre midfield for Fiorentina. He's being linked with Barcelona for 30 million. Declan Rice at 100 million. I mean, it's hard to make a full judgment of him as a player because he's playing for a bang average team. No disrespect to West Ham. They don't play great football. They don't have that many top quality players. So we're not quite sure of what the benchmark is for Declan Rice. He definitely plays better for England around better players. So I will give him that little bit of patience. The thing I've always said with Declan Rice is I don't know what he is amazing at. To me, when you pay 80, 90 million pounds for a player, he should have something within his game that you say he is incredible at that. You know, there should be something in his game. Alexis Sanchez was a match winner, goal scorer. Give him the ball, he'll make something happen. Aubameyang, supreme finisher. Mesut Ozil, one of the best creative players in world football. You know, these were the last sort of huge players that we bought. I still look at Declan Rice and I say, okay, if I'm paying 90 million for him, tell me what is he amazing at? He's got a great work rate. He's a fantastic leader. He's got personality and character. And he can go on some driving runs. But I just think he's decent at everything, but not necessarily amazing at anything. So I don't know. I know I say English tax a lot, and I do think there is English tax attached to Declan Rice. I honestly do. If he was not English, he would not be costing you those kind of numbers. But hey, it is what it is. I could be totally wrong, and if he comes to Arsenal, maybe he goes up another level because he's playing with a lot better players. West Ham are very direct. They get the ball up to Antonio and try and get the bits. It's not an amazing style of football. So, yeah, I wasn't wholly convinced by his performance. But again, I don't want to make a judgment based purely off one game. Wasim said work rate doesn't win you trophies, I'm afraid. I think what Declan Rice could be good at Arsenal is he does a lot of the dirty work. And sometimes somebody doing the dirty work enables the more glamorous players to get even better. So your Odegaard, your Sakas, your Martinellis, they get more freedom to then play, to go and join in and just concentrate more on attacking. So I think they're signing him more for his character and his leadership, especially if Xhaka goes out the door. Cody Mystified said he looked like a 30 million player yesterday. You're right. Samuel, big up for the super chat. Good day to you, Veghorst. I meant to say good day to you, Curtis. Listen, I will never be compared to Wout Weghorst in any way, shape or form, Samuel. He is a horse. He should go in the Grand National next year. That is it. I think Everton are being linked with him. They must want a relegation battle again. But hey, it is what it is. Big up, Samuel. We need that type of player, though. You're right, but I'm just saying for 90 million, I want a little bit more than the passion and the work rate. I want real quality on the ball. Did you hear the commentator shout, it's up for grabs now? Listen, I can't lie yet. That he gassed me up. I don't know about anybody else. I'm a gooner. You know I'm a gooner. But when the commentator shouted that and Jared Bowen slots it into the corner and I'm seeing West Ham fans limbs all over the place, falling down and all sorts. I was like, do you know what? Yeah, man. No, I can't lie. I was like, yeah, man. West Ham, I'm glad you lot won that trophy still. I respect it. I do respect it. The commentator gassed me with that one still. As you know, Curtis Shaw TV, information and entertainment is the slogan. So I dropped a couple of grenades on Twitter last night. I thought it was appropriate. The first one. Declan Rice, to me, does not look like a £90 million player. English tax, I put. As you can imagine, because Arsenal are interested in Declan Rice. Some of our fan base believe he's the best footballer that the world's ever produced. So some people didn't like that. You're already criticising him. He ain't even signed for us. I said, nah, mate, but for 90 million, that looks pretty basic for me. That looks pretty bland. Plain rice, you could say. And the second one, I was like, you see, football is all about winning trophies. And again, some of the more emotional Arsenal fan base, they didn't like that one either. So double grenade for Twitter last night. And yeah, I thought that was an appropriate way to finish my evening. And I casually continued with my evening after that. But listen, Jude Bellingham just cost 85 million plus around 25 million in add-ons. Yeah, we can talk add-ons, but you're talking about 85 million pounds up front. So, and I know what Jude Bellingham is great at. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, it is what it is. If we get Declan Rice, let's hope he goes up to the next level with better players. And you know, we see a player that we want to see in the shirt. I want to see more than what he produced yesterday and what you would say was his biggest game of his career as a West Ham player. So many explosions. Yeah, they just, I don't know what it is. Twitter have got no sense of humour. But I'll try my best. They did laugh when I said we need to bring the dog on when we were losing to Brighton. So I did get a bit of a laugh out of them. But yeah, not everybody on Twitter has a sense of humour, that's for sure. Let's talk about Arsenal. Let me just get through these couple of super chats. Official J Dan, is it me who's peed off we wasn't in for Jude Bellingham for 88.5 million, who might be even cheaper than Rice? He could be. Rice might end up costing more than Jude Bellingham. Make it make sense. Number one, you're signing him from a club in Germany. And number two, for some reason in football, it's like when the bigger clubs come in, your Real Madrids, it's like these lesser clubs will do them a better price, which I've never understood. If Arsenal went in for Jude Bellingham, they'd want about 200 million for him. But maybe it's Edu, negotiations. Yeah, but we wouldn't have got Jude. It's all right agreeing the fee with Dortmund. He's not even going to listen to the conversation. That's the problem. And big up Yasu said, big up Big C, hope you are well. Hope you're well, bro. Big up to everyone locked in today. So let's get on with the talk about Arsenal, people. I'm going to start. I'm not actually going to start with Declan Rice, because you know every show that one is going to pop up. And we're going to be talking about him for a while as well. I thought this was the most interesting one of the day. I'm going to break this down. I want to know your thoughts and opinions on this one. I really didn't expect this one. Let me just get my badge out of there. So, according to reports, and this is being reported this morning by several different newspaper articles and journalists, Arsenal are willing to listen to offers for midfielder Jorginho this summer. Arsenal will not stand in his way this summer should he have a chance to return to Italy. Lazio manager Maurizio Sarri, who of course was his manager at Napoli before he came to England to Chelsea, is keen to reunite with Jorginho at the Stadio Olimpico, and 90 Minutes understands that Napoli and AC Milan are also interested. Now, I want to know your thoughts and opinions on this. Let me just say, first of all, that I'm not bothered if he goes. I'm saying that straight away. I'm not looking at him going, oh no, we're losing Jorginho. No, I'm not particularly bothered. I wouldn't have signed him in the first place. You know my opinion, right? You know my opinion. I was not excited when we signed him. People were talking about Ballon d'Or nominations from 6 years ago. I'm not interested, right? Not bothered. What I will say is, you signed him for 12 million in January. You put out interviews convincing us that, you know, Arteta's going, I've wanted him for years. Manchester City wanted him. He's a player I've tried to sign 3 times. Edu's saying he brings vital experience. He's fantastic on the ball. He brings great leadership in the dressing room. Interview after interview. All of the big social media accounts on Twitter were literally, he plays 70 passes a game. He's a Euros winner. They spent their whole time telling me how good this guy is. 6 months later, you know what, mate? If a club in Italy wants you, you can do one. I mean, it turns out maybe he wasn't as good as they thought. And we all knew this. Now, I've got to be honest. I'm surprised at this. And I'll tell you why. Because when you look at the 4 midfielders that we finished the season with, Thomas Partey, Granit Xhaka, Jorginho, El Neni. I would say that was the order of 4 as well. Even though Partey was playing like a grandpa at the end of the season. Granit Xhaka is on his way out. Jorginho could be on his way out. El Neni, I mean, Arteta said he was going to get a new deal. I've got no idea how Mohamed El Neni survives, by the way. I've got no idea. It's just interesting. Now, I'm trying to take it as a positive. Maybe they're clearing the decks so that we can... Because if we sell Xhaka and Jorginho, we've got to sign at least 2 centre midfielders. At least. Remember, El Neni is not fit at the moment. Thomas Partey looked shot to pieces at the end of the season. He looked like he needed a walking stick. You know, I wanted to check his passport by the end of the season. He looked like a pensioner. Before that, he was fantastic. Let me give him some credit. But the PR of the football club is outrageous and shameless as well, by the way. Now, Jorginho is past his best, right? He's past his best. He's definitely past his best. His game was never based on speed. It was speed of thought, what he could do on the ball. He was good with energy around him. N'Golo Kante at Chelsea, for example. And they had midfielders in Italy who did his work for him. It's just a very interesting situation. His agent was saying a few days ago how much Jorginho has enjoyed playing for Arsenal and that he couldn't wait for next season. Now, all of a sudden, on his way back to Italy. So maybe this was the plan all along, because the reports were that Chelsea were not going to give him a new deal. He was going to go to Italy at the end of the season. Now we've signed him. Maybe they're just going to quickly move him on and at a reduced price. I have no problem with him going. I make that 100% clear. What I will say is I think he is a leader. I think he's very experienced, and I in a strange way, even though I don't mind selling him, it would really surprise me if Arsenal sold him, because I think Arteta really likes him. He likes him so much that he dropped Thomas Partey for him towards the end of the season. And he had some all right games. And you would think in the Champions League, where you need experience, where it is a little bit slower on the ball, I thought he may have actually stayed. So, listen, no problem. For me, I would sell Jorginho, Xhaka and El Neni. I would actually go to one centre mid, Thomas Partey, and buy 3 new centre mids if it was down to me. But it's unlikely to happen. So, what are your thoughts? I'm going to get a poll up. This is definitely worth a poll. Would you sell Jorginho this summer? Like I said, for me, no problem selling him. What I will say, you are losing leadership. And it is important. We always hear about, oh, we're a young team, the youngest team in the league. Xhaka and Jorginho are 2 leaders. And I thought that because the Champions League at times is a little bit slower, I thought they would actually keep him because of his ability on the ball. So, yeah, I've got no problem if he goes. Sarri wants him at Lazio. Lazio had a good season, got in the top 4. It's time to revamp this midfield. E. Ross said I would have sold him last summer. I mean, we only got him in January, but I hear what you're saying. I would have sold him last summer. I wouldn't have bought him in the first place. Jorginho, says Jacques. Well, he's played like a goat, and I don't mean greatest of all time. I mean an actual goat in a farm. Apart from one great shot against Aston Villa. Let me give him some credit for that. We need energy in midfield. We need energy. Jorginho, slow. Xhaka, slow. El Neni, bang average. He actually is quite mobile, but he's the worst of the lot. And Partey, like I said, at the end, I wanted to see his passport. So we need players. We need players, man. We need energy in midfield. Cooper said, big shout out, Big C in the unit. Blessed day to you. Big up everyone tuned in. Hope you're well on this Thursday. Always thankful and appreciative of the support on the channel. Great numbers, despite the fact that obviously we're outside of the football season. Southern Gooner, big up yourself, bro. Absolutely, they should be listening and selling too. But it also shows how good of a smokescreen the PR is to pander to players we don't need. Listen, do I get involved? Do I get into this conversation? No, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I don't know if people heard. There was a story came out about Barcelona, and there was one about PSG. And I think it happens a lot in football in general. Now, what happens is football clubs aren't stupid. PR is very important. Sometimes it can manipulate the thought process of the fan base. So what was happening in Barcelona and what's been happening in PSG? The club will reach out to big social media accounts and they will say, listen, what we want you to do is speak positively about all of our transfers or any decision that the manager makes because you have a big following and we know that you can influence people. In return for that, we will give you free tickets, we'll give you free merch, we'll give you behind the scenes access. It's a no-brainer. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. So when Jorginho comes in, everyone's going, oh, he's brilliant. He keeps the ball. He's won the Europa League. He's this, that, the other. And then all of a sudden, you go on Twitter and all the accounts are bigging him up. You go on Insta, they're all bigging him up. You go online, they're all bigging him up. And all of a sudden, you start to feel like you're in the minority. And sometimes that makes people think that they're wrong when they're in the minority, right? So you go, well, actually, I think Jorginho's rubbish, but everyone else is telling me how good it is. And then sometimes it gets in people's mind and people go, well, all these lot are telling me how good he is. Maybe he's actually better than I thought. And these things happen. And that's the thing what a lot of people are saying about Arsenal, that is happening. This has actually come out that this has happened at PSG and Barcelona. Now, you can't tell me that doesn't happen at Arsenal. You just can't. Arsenal are the Real Madrid, the Brazil 1970 of PR. I believe they did the same with Mikel Arteta. They PR'd him all over the place to make people accept him and believe in him. And they're doing it with players. 6 months ago, Jorginho was the saviour. Now, I'll get rid of him. Get him to Italy. You know what I mean? So, and listen, I don't mind him going, but I'm just saying, I believe these things happen in the Arsenal fan base as well. I'm keeping it 100, people. I'm letting you know. And I'm sure a lot of you know as well. But hey, it is what it is. Jorginho, the poll is there. Would you sell him? I read the full story. It says they're looking to recoup the majority of the 12 million that they paid for him. I can tell you now categorically, Arsenal are not getting 12 million pounds for Jorginho. I don't even believe. I think they'll struggle to get half of that. These clubs in Italy, they don't have a lot of money. He's on 120 grand a week. They're probably going to ask him to take a pay cut, which would probably mean they have to pay a reduced transfer fee. But listen, I've got no problem letting him go. Get 3-4 million for him and keep it moving. All right, let me just get through these super chats. Black, big up yourself, bro. We need to sell the merch. Big C, Rice, Saka, ESR. Merch ain't selling for peanuts. Plus, the passion is 100. We need leaders. Kangaroo is being already. I mean, listen, yeah, we signed the Kangaroo. Did we even get a Jorginho Kangaroo penalty? I don't know if we did we? But I've got no problem shifting him. I've got no problem at all shifting him. So keep it moving. We need better players. We're going into the Champions League. Alex said, I feel like Big C is complaining about everything. If there is money for him, why not take it if we are moving to the next stage? He was our last opponent. Option, you said. Sorry. I mean, listen, we don't know if he was our last option. The club chose to go for the cheap option. As I said, TK Maxx sales section. Listen, as I said, I've got no problem, Alex, with Jorginho being moved on. Absolutely no problem. I'm saying it's just funny that at the end of January, he was seen as the saviour. And by, June, I just get rid of him, get what you can get for him. But hey, yeah, it is what it is. Southern Guna said, we need players who will challenge players in this team who we can't keep getting squad players cooked up to be top notch. We need players that they can go to another level. They haven't reached their ceiling yet. They can get better and better and better. And Jorginho, he's past his best. I don't want Chelsea rejects anymore. No disrespect. I would be surprised if he goes, though. Because he's got a year left on his contract, and it seems like he's very popular at Arsenal. Simon said, do you think it would be crazy if both J20 and Partey left? I mean, there are some reports that Partey could be sold as well. I mean, I gave an opinion on the Partey deal the other day. As I said, with Thomas Partey, let's keep it 100. We keep it 100 on this channel. Number one, Thomas Partey seems to fade at the end of every season. He hasn't really had a full season yet where you've gone, what a season, Thomas Partey. In March, you could have been talking about player of the season. By May, you were going, why can't this guy walk? He looks terrible. And also, let's keep it 100. We're not going to discuss it because we don't know. But we know the news that has been lurking in the background with Thomas Partey. And let's be honest, this club does not like negative press. And we don't know what's going to happen with that. So, Arsenal may be looking at the whole situation and saying, do we just move him on now and let that be someone else's problem if there is any truth in that? So yeah, that's all I'm going to say on that matter. Let's not talk too much. People saying about the buy, sell, keep video. The reason I didn't do it yesterday, I'm doing it tomorrow, and I think I'm going to do it as a live stream so we can interact and have a conversation. I was going to do it pre-recorded yesterday. I think I'm going to do it tomorrow as a live stream. Members stream will be Monday, 4 o'clock. The reason I'm doing it on Monday, because we'll know if Manchester City have won the treble by then. And I think we'll have bigger talking points. Plus, I think there'll be a bit more transfer news. So Monday, 4 o'clock. But tomorrow is buy, sell, keep at 2 o'clock tomorrow, people. We'll do it as a live one. Ricky Proctor said, there is an article that says Stam wants Arsenal to be self-sufficient. 120k offer to Saliba. People should manage their expectations. Now, I saw that article about Stan Kroenke talking about he wants Arsenal to be more self-sufficient and blah, blah, blah. Stan was at the game again last night, by the way, as Denver Nuggets won. They're leading 2-1 in the NBA playoff finals. He wants the club to be self-sufficient, and Edu also knows greater fees must be received for players that Arsenal want to shift. I'm not going to go too crazy with that article. And you know me, I don't need any excuse to go in on the Kroenkes because I'm not interested. I don't rate them particularly highly, but at the same time, I do understand. We are horrendous at selling players. Now, whether you're pumping money into the football club or not, we do have to improve when it comes to selling players, and that is going to be down to to Edu. You look at Aubameyang, you look at Ozil, you look at Aaron Ramsey, you look at Sanchez. We never got a penny for any of these, and now even Pepe and Ainsley Maitland-Niles has just been he's getting released. Ainsley's an England international. You should be getting at least 10, 12, 14 million for him for a bottom half team in the Premier League. So we have to improve. So I'm not actually going to make a big deal out of that. I think naturally any owner of any business is going to want the club to make more money from players that are going out of the door. But yeah, listen, we know there's no excuse for this ownership this summer. Spend big or it's got to be protest time at the start of next season. Big up Cliff again, who said he's on public transport in Miami again. Sad thing is, no matter who we bring in, what are the odds of them flourishing under Arteta? Slim to none. First of all, big up Cliff tuning in. And listen, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think this season is crunch time for the manager as well. There has to be progression on this season. The club have to focus more on winning trophies. I don't have this attitude that I don't look down on trophies when you listen. For example, next season Arsenal are in 4 competitions. We're not likely to win the Champions League. We've never won it, so I don't expect us to go straight back in it next year and win it. What I want to do is see us compete and try and win it. The Premier League, I mean, listen, maybe, but not likely unless we go crazy in the window. So really, the 2 most realistic trophies are the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. We can't turn our nose up at trophies. Win trophies. Continue to build. We haven't won a trophy for 3 years. 3 years without a trophy. Liverpool won trophies last year. Domestic Cup double. City have won trophies this year. Chelsea won the Champions League a couple of years ago. You know, Tottenham never win trophies, so we're not interested in them. We need to try and win trophies. Even West Ham last night, listen, of course West Ham, they finished 14th in the league, but we all saw the feeling and the joy and the adulation seeing them lift that trophy, which is why I think we should have really tried to have won that Europa League. Because I think it would have still represented a great trophy for us to win, considering our lack of European heritage in terms of trophies. So we got to start winning trophies, start competing in everything. We're a big club. He's had enough time and enough money. I don't want to hear this excuse anymore that, oh, we don't have enough squad depth. We can only compete for the Prem. Nah. You've spent $500 million. We should have a bench that's capable of supporting the first 11. Assassin said, big up Curtis. I was having a debate at work with a fellow Gooner. We were linked with Havertz. He was basically saying if Arteta wants him, he would take him. I've heard this statement a lot, though. There was a little rumour linking us with Havertz, but it was dismissed quickly. My opinion on Kai Havertz, I want absolutely nothing to do with him. I do not rate him in that striker role. I think he's horrendous. When he left Germany and he played a little bit further back, yeah, he was a good player, but he has been horrible in the Prem. I don't want nothing to do with him, honestly. So, yeah, Kai Havertz, no, don't go anywhere near him. I think he's a horrible player. Every time I watch him play up front for Chelsea, I'm like, how on earth is this guy playing up front for Chelsea? So, yeah, I don't want nothing to do with him. Let's end this poll on Jorginho. Interesting. 66% of you think we should bin him, get rid of him. 34% say no, we should keep him. I actually thought it may have been a bit different from that. But I wonder why 34% of you think we should keep him. Maybe his experience. Maybe you think, you know, we've got worse centre mids at the club like El Neni. Jake said my profile is leaked Havertz in an Arsenal shirt. Yeah, I don't want nothing to do with him, please. Big up Curtis Jorginho. 12 mil for 5 or 6 games. Exactly, bro. Exactly. That they spent weeks telling me how good a signing he was. And he's played 5 games. So it is what it is. Arteta is in on the clock. Yeah, I hear that. Tell that to Robbie, man. He's milking. Talking about bigger fish to fry. I'm going to try and get him on next week. Anyway, let's move on. Jorginho looks as if he could be on his way out of Arsenal for just, I think, 6 starts and 6 months at the club. So very, very interesting when it comes to Jorginho. But I think one thing's for sure, we're clearing out midfielders this summer. That there's absolutely no doubt that midfielders are on their way out of Arsenal Football Club this summer. Let's talk about Moises Caicedo. Gary Jacobs has tweeted today, he's wrote an article for The Times. Arsenal are planning a renewed offer for Moises Caicedo. Arsenal also want to sign another attacking player, a centre-back, and a full-back. Now, the interesting thing about this, and I'm actually going to change that picture because the full article says that this deal is going to be a shootout between Arsenal and Chelsea. Now, as I spoke about the other day, a couple of things have happened at Chelsea that are not actually good news when it comes to Arsenal and getting Caicedo through the door. Those two things are obviously, number one, Manuel Ugarte, who was a defensive midfielder that Chelsea had agreed a deal for from Sporting Lisbon. He's rejected Chelsea. He's on his way to PSG. That's the first bit. The second bit, of course, was N'Golo Kante has agreed to go to Saudi despite Chelsea offering him a new 2-year contract. They've offered him £1.4 million a week to go to Saudi. He couldn't turn it down. They now need a defensive midfielder, and they are going to go for Caicedo. Now, this is not good news. Like a lot of you have been saying, Fabrizio has been saying that he'll cost around 70 or 80 million. As I said, if we are who we say we are, there's no way on earth this should even be a competition. I'm sorry, it should not. But the reason it will be a competition is money. It's pure money that will make this difficult for Arsenal. Because Chelsea will say to Brighton, what do you want? 70 million? Do you want it up front? How do you want it? We'll probably turn up 30 million, 10 million there, 5 million there, 2 million if he wins this, 4 million if he makes that many appearances. If you want him, get him. Pay the money. The guy is absolute pure class. He should already be an Arsenal player. We've seen this morning Alexis McAllister announced by Liverpool in a Liverpool shirt. £35 million plus add-ons. Bargain. No messing about, done deal. Obviously, that deal was less complex because there was a release clause. Caicedo doesn't have the release clause. For me, said it before and I'll say it again, this is the one for me. This is the one. Declan Rice, I hear it, but Caicedo, this is the one. He can play right back. He was the best player on the pitch against Arsenal. In centre mid, he's a beast. He is the player for me that we should be signing. I would actually sign him over Declan Rice. I don't actually mind if we sign both of them, if they're prepared to pay the money. But we need to get him through the door. 70, 80 million. He wants to join Arsenal, apparently. He's verbally agreed personal terms, apparently. Get the deal done. There's no need to wait around. Make the offer. Get him done. If he goes to Chelsea, it's a sorry state of affairs for Arsenal Football Club. If they can finish mid-table and we can finish second and they can still get him ahead of us purely down to money, that will tell you everything you need to know about the ownership. Because there's no excuse. We're in the Champions League. Apparently he loves Arsenal. But he's got 10 brothers and sisters that, he wants to put money in their pocket. And if Chelsea put a big bag of money in front of him, then maybe that can sway him. But Gary Jacobs saying that Arsenal want to sign Caicedo and Declan Rice. It's not one or the other. It is both. I've got to be honest. I have always said I will be absolutely shocked if Arsenal buy both of them. I really will. I don't see it. Caicedo costs you 70 to 80 and Declan Rice costs you 80 to 90. So you're looking at maybe 160 million for the two. I think Arsenal will go for two centre mids. I think they will pay big money for one of them and there will be a cheaper option, in my opinion. If they get both of them, wow, I will put my hands up and say I got that wrong. But I just don't see it. I think Arsenal will get a cheaper midfielder and they'll try and get probably Declan Rice. What are your thoughts and opinions on this? Shelby said, I'm scared Chelsea will put in Colwill in the deal. Yeah, obviously he's been on loan at Brighton. Chelsea have rejected a £30 million offer. Brighton are desperate to sign him. it would be easy for Chelsea to say, okay, we'll give you maybe 45 million and we'll give you Colwill on a permanent, something like that. Maybe that makes it easier. Ben Gunastab said, the new Kante, 21 years of age, he dominated the carpet. I mean, he's 2 or 3 years younger than Rice. He plays in a team that plays a more similar style of football to us. So I think that the transition from Brighton to Arsenal is probably easier. If we don't get him, I will be very annoyed because I think he'd be fantastic at Arsenal. He's going to Chelsea, though. Well, maybe. They'll throw the bag at him, that's for sure. Oliver said more like Tielemans on a free, easy deal. He's actually being linked with Aston Villa today. As I said before, I don't want nothing to do with Yuri Tielemans. Shaq said Faxi would be cheaper as well. Listen, he's on 60 grand a week, right? You're going to have to give Declan Rice probably 200 bags a week at least. You could probably get this guy for 120, maybe, double his wages. Why does Edu always delay the signings? It's crazy, isn't it? Stackademic said you'll get Loftus-Cheek. I don't want nothing to do with him. If we bid 75 in January, why not now? The thing with Arsenal, they do a lot of their work behind the scenes, so I'm sure things are happening. But it's frustrating. When you see Liverpool announce deals and clubs are signing players, Madrid are signing Bellingham and McAllister signed for Liverpool, and Mason Mount is getting closer to Man United, we need to get something done early. I want to see signings on the tour. Get them in early. Simon said Chelsea don't want to pay up front. That's what put them off Ugarte. On a side note, Tony Bloom used to have a box at Chelsea before he bought Brighton. Okay, fair enough. Chelsea didn't want to pay as much up front. Maybe that's why the Ugarte deal didn't happen. And Tony Bloom, listen, I'm sure he has a good relationship with Chelsea. He sold Cucurella for 60 million. They negotiated Graham Potter's compensation there. They took Levi Colwill on loan. So clearly Chelsea and Brighton have done business before. So that maybe works in their favour. But we need to turn up and act like big boys. If we're big boy and bad Arsenal, then let's show it. Champions League, boot the door off and say, come here, we're signing him. No messing about. I don't care if Chelsea are making offers. We're in the Champions League. We're a bigger club. Come and play for us. If we lose him out to Chelsea, then it's embarrassing, in my opinion. Stan Kroenke's at NBA games every other night. So we should be signing both of them, not one or the other. But aren't we friends with Brighton? Says Zoo. Well, we'll see, won't we? We will see. Chelsea and Brighton aren't friends, unlike Arsenal. I suppose on the flip side, though, we have signed Ben White and signed Trossard of them. So we should have some sort of decent relationship with them as well. But we'll see. Kick the door down and grab him and leave. Leave with your player. Let's talk Declan Rice. It was always going to happen. It was only a matter of time before we spoke about Declan Rice and Peas, the Europa Conference League winning captain after last night. Although he didn't play particularly well last night, but it is what it is. And big up Shibe, who's just renewed membership. Member stream Monday, 4 o'clock, people. We'll get to talk about Man City, whether they've won the treble and all of that. David Sullivan, the West Ham owner, did an interview this morning on TalkSport. And he said some very revealing things about Declan Rice. He said, we have promised Declan Rice that he could go. He has set his heart on going. He rejected our £200,000 a week bid 18 months ago. I think offers will start to come today. There are 3 or 4 clubs who have shown an interest in the player. That is believed to be Arsenal, Manchester United, Bayern Munich, and there's also reports now of Newcastle being interested in him as well. I don't think he would go to Newcastle, if I'm being totally honest. So David Sullivan, the West Ham chairman, confirming that they have promised Declan Rice he can go this summer. And interesting that he also says he has his heart set on going, which I think is very interesting. I think Arsenal have done all the work in the background. It's believed that they've spoken to his dad. They've spoken to his agent. They've done everything they can. Declan Rice is very encouraged by the football that we play. He respects Arteta. Even when Arsenal played West Ham, I don't know if you guys saw that video. I'm sure most of you did, where Declan Rice was speaking to Martin Odegaard outside the dressing room. I think Odegaard was signing an Arsenal shirt to give to Declan Rice. Apparently, Declan Rice was giving it to one of his family members. He's good friends with Saka. He wants to stay in London, according to reports. It's a no-brainer. If we fumble this bag, again, you've got to look at the ownership and at Edu. It's there. He's waiting for the move. We just have to negotiate the deal with West Ham. It's as simple as that. That's the only thing. That's the only stumbling block on this deal. Can Arsenal negotiate the price with West Ham? West Ham are asking for crazy money. There's another report as well saying that West Ham want the entire transfer fee to be paid by the summer of 2025. Now, is that going to cause a problem? Usually, when you sign a player, clubs will try and spread the payments over the length of his contract. So if you sign for 5 years, you cost, I don't know, 100 million. We may give you 40 million up front, and then we'll spread the other 60 million over the remaining 4 years. West Ham are saying, listen, this is their prized asset. We want all the dough in 2 years. You pay a certain amount now, a certain amount next summer, and whatever's remaining, you pay it by 2025. So if he's going to cost 100 million, that's got to be paid in the next 2 summers. Are Arsenal going to do that? There's no excuse. We're in the Champions League. Stadium sold out every week. Merch flies off the shelves. There's no excuse. If this is your guy that you want, pay the dough. Yeah, no Klarna business. Drop a big bag of money on West Ham and take him if that's the guy that you want. So it's there to be done. It is there to be done. But if anyone was going to fumble the bag, it would be Arsenal. That's the problem. Now let's move on to the next part. Matt Law in the is it the Times today? He's put out a Daily Telegraph. Sorry, he's put out a big article today where he's saying that this deal is close already. He's saying with West Ham now set to sanction Declan Rice has moved to Arsenal in a deal worth around £92 million. The club will have significant funds to spend this summer. As I said, they're being linked with Calvin Phillips. There's also some reports they're going to go for James Ward-Prowse as well, who's obviously been relegated with Southampton. He's available this summer. I think West Ham will want this deal to get done quickly, if I'm being totally honest. They're going to need to replace him. Sullivan went on to say in that same article that they may have to sign 2 players as they may not be able to get one player at the same level as him. Now, I'm going to ask you, do you have any problem with the transfer fee? Do you mind Arsenal paying £92 million for Declan Rice? Now, I've got to be honest. I don't think he's worth 92 million. But at the same time, if that's who Arteta wants, then I want the club to pay 92 million for him. That's my opinion on him. I don't think he's worth that at all. For 92 million, for me, you should be signing a world-class football player. I mean, like world-class, no doubt about it, world-class. Declan Rice is not yet world-class. He's not. He may never be. He may be. I don't know. But at the same time, if Arteta wants him, get him. Get him. We put enough money into the club, so spend the money. So, and prices are inflated. You know, this is 90 million is probably 60 million from 2 years ago. That's the way it goes. It's just when you see Bellingham at a similar bracket, because listen, I know if another club was paying 92 million for him, I'd be saying, yo, you're getting bumped. There's no way he's worth that. But when it's coming out of our own pocket, I am still going to try and look at it in a positive way. 92 million is ridiculous, says Chris. Nathaniel said he ain't worth 92 mil. 92 million should be for a world-class player, but Arteta wants him. So Arsenal get it done. We have to move on. Can't live in the dark ages. The owners have the money. That's a good point. Sin said he's more reliable than Pepe. This will obviously make him the most expensive player in Arsenal history, by the way. Blue Meme said if they decline 92 million, just move on and buy Caicedo. I agree with that. this was always my worry with this deal is if we go all out for him and don't get him, and then Caicedo ends up getting snapped up, you end up with none of them. We've got to get one of them. I would actually like us to get both of them. Simon said big players decide where they go. West Ham won't stand in his way. Bellingham chose Madrid and they did the deal. I hear you. I think that West Ham have got enough respect for Declan Rice that if he was to be like, listen, I know that Man United want me, but I want to go to Arsenal. Even if they're offering a little bit less, I think West Ham would give him that respect and do the deal for him. I hope, anyway. I never knew England made rice so expensive, says Dre. That's some expensive rice. Lubos said his best asset is his availability, which is the best ability, as you said before, Curtis, and I believe they loved that with Xhaka. He always played, so a replacement is needed. Get the deal done early so we can move on and go and get other targets. We need to sell a lot of players as well. Zhao said, big up Curtis, finally catching you live. Big up to all the C unit. Big up yourselves. Big up everyone locked in. 2.5K locked in on this Thursday afternoon. Amazing support. 45 of you on Twitch as well. Really appreciate it. 2 p.m. tomorrow. Buy, sell, keep. We're going to do it live. 4 p.m. Monday for the member stream. Champions League watch along Saturday night as well. Internazionale against Manchester City. Listen, it's I'm Adriano FC on Saturday night, I'm afraid. I'm R9 FC. I'm Alvaro Recoba. I'm Javier Zanetti. I'm Obafemi Martins. And all the other bad boy players. Christian Vieri. I'm sorry. I know I was supporting an English club last night. As I did want West Ham to win. But yeah, it's Adriano. It's R9. It's Recoba. It's Wesley Sneijder. It's Samuel Eto'o, Javier Zanetti, Maicon, all them dons on Saturday night, people. Let's stop this treble. Let's stop this treble. Pep needs to be stopped. And, yeah, well, I'll very much be internationally. Ivan Zamorano, jeez. Hey, remember Pez back in the day, man? Somebody just put that as well. Pez back in the day. I'm telling you, Inter had a serious team on Pez back in the day. I can't lie. There's some bad boys. So, yeah, I will be Inter Milan FC on Saturday evening, people. Stop that treble. Save football. Lakaka, save us. But anyway, Declan Rice, seems as if things are moving now. The trophy parade is in East London tonight. So they will fly back this afternoon. They'll get their trophy. I'm sure they'll have meetings tonight at the club as well. And I think you will see movement starting this weekend. I think offers will be made for Declan Rice, probably from today. He's quite definitive in this article, Matt Law, saying that West Ham are already lining up replacements. They know he's going, and they know he's going to Arsenal. So let's see. So yeah, there will be a watch along Saturday night. Champions League watch along. Internazionale. Come on, Inter. Stop the treble. Save football. 2 out of 3 Italian European finalists have been beaten. Will Inter Milan be the third? Will they book the trend? Yep, Roma lost. Fiorentina lost. Let's hope Inter can do the business. Inter had ballers Zlatan and Balotelli. Had some great players. Toldo as well. He was a very good player. So there's the Declan Rice update. Listen, that's going to drag on. Hopefully not for too much longer, though. Get the deal done. Get moved on. And get him through the door. Because for me, the longer it drags on, the more you're giving other people opportunities to jump in and cause us a problem. Because at the end of the day, what if Manchester City turn around? And what if Gundogan decides to go Saudi and take the bag, or, you know, he goes Barcelona, all of a sudden they need a player then, and then they might go looking for him as well. So we've got to be careful. We've got to be careful and protect ourselves. So, yeah, that's what I would say with that one. More news coming out about Reiss Nelson. Nothing major. But looks as if Reiss Nelson is going to extend his contract at the football club. It looks like there's been a breakthrough. Arsenal have offered him a 4-year contract with a 1-year option with a decent pay rise as well. The only thing I've always thought with Reiss Nelson signing a new deal, does that affect our ability to go and sign another winger this summer? Because you're looking at it and you're going, on the left, you've got Martinelli. He's got that left-hand side on smash. You've then got Trossard. You've also got Smith Rowe. And then you've got Saka on the right. And then you've got Reece Nelson on the right as well. Are you then going to sign another one? It's interesting. I'm actually quite surprised that he stayed. I honestly thought he was going to go to Brighton. I thought Brighton was a fantastic move for him. They're in Europa League. More first-team football, great style of football. I thought he would have gone, but he obviously loves Arsenal and he wants to stay. Shaq said he's a perfect squad player. Dre's doing an Arsene Wenger. It's like a new signing, people. Guna Birdie said, let's just go and buy the Ecuadorian. Moises Caicedo definitely should be getting that one done. Cliffo said, we ain't getting a right winger now. James said, get Gonzalez from Fiorentina. He looked decent last night, to be fair. Zaha for free. I think that ship has sailed. Apparently he's been offered nearly 400 grand a week to go to Saudi, so that one doesn't look overly likely. But yeah, 4-year contract. One thing I will say about Reece Nelson, as much as I like Reece Nelson, I think he's got fantastic ability. I think he's got talent. I like him as a player. I think he can get better. He has to prove himself on a more consistent basis. Because for me at the moment, you know, he had the Bournemouth moment. We didn't really see anything else for the rest of the season. He's got to start producing. He's got to start having more impact if he's going to build a career for himself. This guy was ahead of Saka in the pecking order. If I'm him and I'm looking at what Saka's done at Arsenal, I'm thinking I need to sort myself out here. You know, how has this kid gone ahead of me? And gone clear. So looks as if Reece Nelson, that deal could be announced shortly. 4-year contract till 2027 with a 1-year option that will take him to 2028. So new contract to Reece Nelson. Good player. Need to start seeing more from him. More impact. But also needs to be given more opportunities as well. Now, let's talk about Saudi Arabia. They are not messing around. They are seriously not messing around. I don't know if people have been reading these reports. It's believed that the Saudi government have offered teams in Saudi Arabia up to £200 billion to invest in players, and they want 20 high-profile players to be signed this summer. This league is not playing games. When they signed Ronaldo, I was like, cool. Kante, 2-year deal at Chelsea, gone. Karim Benzema said he wanted to retire at Madrid, gone straight away. Now, the Chinese league tried this, and it didn't work. But I believe the Saudis, they can keep doing this. Apparently, according to reports, Saudi Arabia have sent 2 clubs over to England to negotiate Ilkay Gundogan and Riyad Mahrez. We know that Arsenal have been heavily linked with Ilkay Gundogan. He's out of contract this summer. Does this stop Arsenal getting him? I suppose it all comes down to, is the player motivated by money or does he want to play at the top level? It's believed that Luka Modric rejected huge money to go there as he didn't think, you know, he wasn't prepared to play in that division at this stage in his career. He wants to stay at the top level as long as possible. I mean, N'Golo Kante, £1.4 million a week. Karim Benzema, £3 million a week. He was on 375 grand a week at Real Madrid. They offered him £3 million a week. Unbelievable. They're now in for Gundogan. They're trying to get Riyad Mahrez. They want 20 players this summer, high-profile players. They've offered Wilfried Zaha around £400,000 a week. I mean, they are not messing about. I suppose the thing that is interesting with that league is, are they going to be able to get any top player in the pinnacle of his career? Because let's be honest, every player that we've just mentioned, they're past their best, right? They're all past their best. You're not talking about anybody in the peak of their career. You're talking about somebody, you know, coming towards retirement sort of ages in their career. But Gundogan apparently is going to be offered huge numbers to go to Saudi Arabia. Will this stop Arsenal's interest, who apparently have offered him a 2-year contract to join this summer? Saudi teams in the Champions League. Listen, money talks, people. Money talks. Dirty cat. Listen, money talks. These clubs will get in the Champions League. Give it 2 or 3 years. They'll ring UEFA. Yeah, we want to get in the Champions League. Unfortunately, it only applies for clubs in Europe. How much do you need? How much you got? 400 million? Will that do you? Yep, you're in the Champions League next season. Trust me, it will happen. These Saudi clubs will get in the Champions League. They're not playing games. They're here to do what they want, right? They're serious. They've got endless amounts of cash. It ain't no joke. So big up EC, big up Young Gunner. The club should be getting Arteta's priority sidings in order to judge him accurately. We need a backup for Odegaard. McAllister for 42 mil and Fabio for 35 million. Make it make sense. What I would be saying to Mikel Arteta, we get the list. Whoever your top priority is, get that deal done first. If you want Declan Rice, he's got to be the #1 signing. I want him through the door first. Get the bonus ones at the end. Okay, we could do with a winger. But get what we need first. And we need midfielders at the moment. That is for sure. We're getting Arab money. They're making it rain, man. They are making it rain right now. I'm telling you. I don't know if anybody saw the house that Karim Benzema is staying in over there. The man's swimming pool looks like the ocean. It looks endless. It's crazy, people. It's crazy. Big up Young Gunner. Big up Black said the only record that Pep can't beat is the invisible record. Arteta doesn't want to put that pressure on Saka. Saudi failed on Messi. Well, listen, let's talk about Lionel. Let's talk about the GOAT. Messi. Now, fair play to Messi, man. Messi turned down a bill. Messi turned down $1 billion to go to Saudi. I mean, it takes a strong individual to turn down $1 billion. I don't care how good you are, where you want to live in the world. If someone offers you $1 billion, it takes some serious cojones to turn that down and say, no, I'm not interested. So I have to respect Messi for turning that deal down. Now, Messi has gone to Inter Miami, the club of David Beckham. Which I don't know how he's got him. Can you imagine if Phil Neville didn't get sacked last week? Phil Neville would be managing Lionel Messi. I mean, the deal that Messi's got, though, I mean, I've been reading up on it. He's not going there for no peanuts. Let me tell you that. According to reports, it will be a similar wage to what he was on at PSG, around 650,000 a week. The deal is unbelievable. He's getting... So basically, all the new subscriptions that Apple get for the MLS coverage, he will get a percentage of that. He's also going to get a percentage of shirt sales. He's not messing around. They're saying as well he can get a franchise afterwards. So he's basically going to buy a football club after. He's got a big house in Miami. And a big part of the reason that he went over there was because of this house over there as well. So listen, it's an unbelievable deal. You know, I know they offered him $1 billion to go to Saudi, but this is still... He's going to be the biggest thing to ever play in the MLS. And apparently they want Luis Suarez, Busquets, Alba. He's going to get the group back together. Big up Curtis, your GOAT, not mine. Pele is your GOAT. Listen, for me, R9 is my favourite footballer ever, along with probably Ronaldinho and Thierry Henry. But if I'm saying... I mean, you're going to take this in a whole other direction, but I think Messi is the GOAT. I think he's the GOAT of football. They've basically given him half of Miami to go there. So, and there was a report here saying that all Inter Miami tickets have been sold out. They're now reselling for between $800 and $3,500. Apparently, before the Messi deal was announced, you could get an Inter Miami ticket for around $40. The cheapest one now is $800 for any of their games this season. The Messi effect. They also went from 1 million followers on Instagram to 4.5 million within 10 minutes. So, listen, I think it's a good move for him. I think that He's 36 years of age this month. He's done everything that he needs to do. Champions League, Spanish League, French League, World Cup, Copa America. Go and relax. The MLS will stretch his career. It will stretch his career. He can play in America for 3 or 4 years. In Europe, it's very difficult. So he's going to own the King of Diamonds. Hey, listen, it's serious. Somebody just said he's not better than R9. For me, R9, you've just summed it up perfectly here. R9 for me is the greatest striker to ever play the game. Although he said greatest player, Ronaldinho, I would say the most skillful and most entertaining. If you're talking about consistency and success, it's got to be Lionel. He's done it since he was 17. He's 35, Summer in Miami, Jim Jones edition. Yeah, man, he's living. He's living. I wish that Arsenal were playing into Miami pre-season, man. That would have been brilliant. But we're coming to the end of an era, people. No Ronaldo and no Messi in Europe anymore. They deserve the opportunity to wind down. They've produced for a long time. One thing I want to ask. I've always wondered why the MLS has not taken off. Because you look at America, most sports that they take seriously becomes huge. I've always wondered, why is the MLS not massive? Is it because of the salary caps? Do they not have enough big players over there? Do they not take soccer, football seriously enough? I don't know. I'm really surprised why MLS has not really taken off. I'll end that poll. Do you mind Arsenal paying 92 million? 46% say yes, 54% say no. Listen, it ain't our money. Spend the money, man. Spend the money. But yeah, I'm just really surprised. Why has MLS never taken off on a bigger level? NBA, NFL, hockey over MLS. Yeah, maybe that's right. Maybe that's right. It's not one of the biggest sports over there. That's a very, very good point. MLS All-Stars. Now, surely you would drop Messi into that squad. That's very, very interesting. That's a great point, that, Frozzy. MLS All-Stars. Surely Messi would play in that game against Arsenal. Wayne Rooney is actually the manager of that game as well. Guna Popeye said there's a lot of bias in mainstream American sports culture against football. Fans of other sports think it's for softies. Salary cap, yeah, it's got to be, surely, hasn't it? I know that obviously when I've been to America myself, it seems like the NBA, American football, baseball, hockey, track and field, boxing, those sort of sports all seem to take priority over football over there. Somebody told me, I don't know if this is right, a friend of mine in America said that football is actually quite expensive to play in America as well. If you want to play for a decent team, it's quite expensive going through their academy system. So, but I would think with the next World Cup being in America, I would like to see it grow as a sport. Masterson said, Curtis, it's a middle-class sport. Yeah, which is a shame because I've always thought the beauty of football is it's a working-class sport. You can be as poor as anything and still become a star. Assassin said, Saudi Arabia, no tax, so 200 million is straight into your account. Wow, it's unbelievable that, isn't it? Arsenal PR will be in overdrive this summer, would drive up interest. That's why I'm really surprised if Arsenal let Balogun go. With the World Cup being in America, having America's number 9 up front could be fantastic PR for Arsenal and for the Kroenkes. So, yeah, it would really surprise me if they let Balogun go. I think that would be a big mistake from a footballing point of view and from a PR point of view. 2K to play competitive football as a kid in America, that's outrageous. They need to change that. That's probably costing them a lot of players who don't have the money to do that, but maybe have the talent. Troy said, I moved there in 2005. Football has grown exponentially, especially the Premier League. I used to be the only geezer in the hood wearing an Arsenal jersey. Now I see people wearing footwear daily, or football shirts probably daily. Bleck said they haven't stopped calling it soccer. That's it. African Giant said, I thought Moyes has agreed personal terms. Listen, according to reports, he has, but personal terms don't mean nothing. Mudryk had personal terms and we still didn't get him. So big up African Giant. Chomper said, Messi, the businessman, did the deal. It's a great deal to get a percentage of the subs on the MLS pass, and reported all MLS clubs is going to help pay the wages. He's not stupid. He knows his business, man. He'll probably end up making a similar amount of money to the Saudi offer, let's be honest. So, yeah, he knows what he's doing. And Carl said, should Edu make a bid for Harry Kane? Sol Campbell Part 2. I'd love to get Kane to Arsenal, but listen, Levy, he would never let that happen, man. They haven't stopped calling it soccer, said Black. And Simon said, if you're Saka, when this deal is done, do you turn down $500 million for 3 years in Saudi? I mean, that's the danger, in it, with the deal that Saka's on. It's a 4-year deal, but after 2 years, you're going to have to renegotiate. I think he gave himself a very smart deal by not making that 5 or 6 years. He said that, look, after 2 years, they're going to have to either give me 300 grand a week or I'll move somewhere else if Arsenal are not moving serious enough. So he got himself an escape clause by signing a contract of that length. So, but we'll see. I'm sure at that age he still wouldn't want to go there, but we'll have to see with that one. Curtis Big Kev was real positive about Xavi Simons. Do you think he was low-key giving you the scoop? What I always do with Kev, when we finish the show, I always say, Kev, have you got any little scoops on anything there? And sometimes he says, yeah, maybe, and then... But he just said that Xavi Simons was a personal opinion. What he was saying adamantly was that Saliba is signing a new contract. Does he know something we don't? He does a lot of work in and around the club. I would like to think that he does, but he was adamant Saliba's going nowhere. They're negotiating. He's going to re-sign. If it doesn't work, clip it and go for him. And brook the neck, as he likes to say. Anyway, people, I am out of here. Been on for an hour and 5 minutes. Fantastic show, as always. Really appreciate your support. Lots going off at the moment. Next Wednesday, the transfer window opens officially. I'm going to be doing a show with Ben Jacobs next Wednesday, 2 p.m. to announce the start of the transfer window opening. So look out for that show. Next Thursday is the fixture release day. So we'll be doing a show on Thursday looking at our first games in the Premier League. So look out for that. Champions League final watch along on Saturday night. Tomorrow, 2 p.m, we'll be doing buy, sell, keep. I was going to do it pre-recorded, but I'm going to do it live tomorrow. Get yourself involved in that. Who do we need to get rid of and who should we keep, people? Thank you very much for tuning in. Make sure you follow the TikTok account as well. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Like the video on your way out. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday, and I will see you all tomorrow, people. Bless.